All right, people. You know what time it is. It's your boy BHZ Veteran. We back another pie review. This one is on it. Welcome to Derry, episode 4. You gotta excuse me. Kind of on the edge, you know what I'm saying? This is the second time I'm recording this. We had a power outage right when I got at the end of this, y'all. So bear with me. We gonna try to keep the same energy on something that we had in the beginning. So, you don't know this episode here go up, man. You ain't got it yet through your thick skull. Go watch the show. Subscribe to HBO Max, man. Go on, man. I'm telling you, the show is worth it. Fire. Plus, there's more content on it. This ain't no ad either. It need to be HBO Max. Oh, that's your boy, man. But hey, get straight to it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll stick around, because this episode here is going to put my ears on. All right, now we in there. This episode here, y'all, going to give you an origin story of Pennywise. As far as this iteration of it, Pennywise, they kind of mixed it with the book and their own creative foresight on it. Trying to use fancy word. Anyway, I guess we'll start with the kids. As they're basically the main characters and the one that Pennywise is trying to get. So it opens up with the kids riding bikes through the town. It's a cool little nod to, you know, E.T., Stranger Things, hell, even the first, Losers Club in the first movie and the first two movies. They're riding through and they're on their way to the police station. Because the last episode they had their camera. They was trying to get some physical evidence, some pictures of Pennywise or just anything crazy. So they got pictures of, Ghost and the actual picture of Pennywise, and they was in the cemetery doing the seance. And so they're trying to show that to the police. Of course, police they don't even see shit on the pictures, but regular shit. And that, of course, is tied to Pennywise's control, or let's say mist over the town. Put in the comments if you caught that. But yeah, he kind of fogs the brain of adults to where they don't ever really see anything going on with him. They don't see anything strange. They don't really pay attention to all the disappearances or the killings or whatever over the time of the entire time of Derry. So and it's really Pennywise's way of you know distancing the kids from the adults and making the kids feel even more vulnerable, instill more fear into them because that's what he likes. He likes to scare his prey. Then he likes to kill them or eat them. And so of course the police don't see it. Make fun of them, basically run them off, threatening little Lily right there. Things to threaten her that they're gonna send her ass back to the cuckoo house. Going back to Juniper Hills if you keep on talking about this. So they're trying to show the pictures to prove that it was something else that killed the kids in the theater and not um I've got her name's the little black girl's father, Mr. Gallagher. Got some notes right here. Grogan. So he's in jail right now on his way to Shawshank, which takes us to our next point. Um well, before we go there, we're gonna go back to the kids. We also have Will. I don't know why, y'all, but they were fucking with Will this episode. Like for real. Will was going through some shit. You know, one big thing is he was out fishing with his dad. And that's a scene right there. As you can see, it's a little koi fish pool swims up. And spoilers. I'll give y'all a little second, a little section here too. Okay. A hand comes up and grabs him, pulls him to the water. And in the water that he sees that the hand is connected to his father, who just left. Like his father, like they was fishing. He caught a, he was had a fish on his line. The line broke. He lost his bait or his line. His dad went to the truck to well the vehicle to get another one, and that's when he saw the fish and he gets pulled into the water. Shit was crazy as hell. So his dad is in there. It's basically it's his dad, but he's on fire. And he's saying you will burn too. And so if you didn't know, Will in this storyline is going to grow up to actually burn in a fire because he is the son or he is the father of um Mike in the new movies, the other black guy. So remember his parents burnt up in a fire. They would say they was crackheads, but they wasn't. So they burnt up because of it. So that was kind of like a little foreshadow to what's going to happen to Will in the future. So his dad rescues him, pulls him out the water, and he's scared. He tells him it pulled him down. Like what pulls you down? He runs off, and him right there looks up and sees a balloon. Just weird because like I just said, adults don't usually see anything tying with it or Pennywise. And I kind of think this is a little hypothesis of mine. I believe that it's going to have something to do with his injury that he sustained in the Korean War when he was shot down. That was the same thing that Will was seeing in the water was his dad on fire because that was one of his fears of seeing his dad that his dad was going to die or when the accident happened. You know, so I think that that's why he's seeing that balloon at that time. So fast forward, the next not the next scene, but fast forward the next encounter. Will is can't sleep. Looks through a pair, not a pair, looks through a telescope, and as he's looking through the telescope, spoiler, guess who we see? Sees motherfucking Pennywise, y'all. Scared the shit out of me. No, it scared shit out of him. Sees Pennywise. His dad comes in. He yells at him and his mom. I'm gonna get to that point too next. Runs out in the middle of the street looking for, who's out there. Because Will said someone was looking at him through the window. Looks around, hears something in the trees. He looks up. What does he see? Another red balloon. So it's definitely something of why he can see, that Pennywise is fucking with him. Or it could be that he has some type of The Shining, a little, some of it. So could be too, because that's why Dick Halloran kind of looks at him sideways sometimes. That's Dick Halloran, another guy sitting at the table. We're gonna get to him, don't worry. So now we'll talk about the wife to Will's mom. She, they're from the South, so she was kind of like an activist down south. And so she hears about Mr. Rogan's him hears about it. He's been wrongfully arrested and accused of killing the kids in the theater, which we all know it was Pennywise from the first episode. And the big baby with one wing. So she is going in there to try to help him. So she's talking to him. She has to bribe her way in, says she's gonna get the whole civil rights movement down there if they don't let her go see him. And she goes in there, she talks to him or whatever, and basically says that she can get him out because they arrested him, wrongfully. He didn't even get a bail here. So she asks him though, it's like, hey, where were you? He says I was at home. But she had already talked to his mom, and she knows, like the police knows, that someone saw him out and about that night, around the theater, but not at the theater. So, spoiler alert, he ends up being, y'all, with, he was with a white woman, yeah. Yes, a white woman. Back then, you couldn't be with no white woman like that. You got to say it like that first time. You got to say a white woman. So he was with a white woman, and not only a white woman, but a married white woman. So he basically like, fuck it, I'd rather go to Shawshank than to get caught with a white woman. a white woman, and especially a married white woman. He was like, "Oh, she don't tell what they'll do to me, let alone do to her." No, there's a for sure death sentence. Your ass might make it through jail, might, to get out, but fuck around and get found out back then. Shit, you damn you fucked up now. You mess with a white woman, but then you definitely was hanging from a tree. So that's why is kind of holding his tongue on there instead of telling where he was, so he got out of jail. So they this is another little theory of mine. If you didn't know, this plays into a next point. Actually, let's go to that next point for next. Dick Halloran. Dick Halloran is black guys in the Air Force from they're from the show right here on the left side there. He has the shiny. So the Air Force is using his power to try to find out where Pennywise is, to try to use it as a weapon. So he after the last encounter with it, he actually, he cashed in a little favor with the general and says, "Hey, me and my partners need somewhere to kick, and we need somewhere, hang out. Ain't nobody know where we at and just go off some steam." So general tells him, "Yeah, hey, y'all can go to a little deconditioned storage room, storage, facility, what you want to call it, room base, whatever." So they go they go there to this storage place and they actually start cleaning it out. That is actually going to become, one second, and that is going to actually become the black spot. Black spot, which is going to be that's going to turn out to be the most happening club in Derry. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be popping. Everybody going to be at this. You know what I mean? And so that is going to, of course, cause the local, I'm trying to think of the society, I believe it was something, some white betterment society or something like that. We saw a sign of it in the one of the first episodes. They're going to get a little jealous, so they're going to decide that they want to do something about it. So of course, with it inspiring them to do it and pushing them to do it, they're going to actually burn down that nightclub, that little kicky spot, which is going to kill a lot of people, unfortunately. And that is also one of the historic, big tragedies that happened in Derry's history, that ties to it, Pennywise, because, everything the bad that happens in Derry because Pennywise. So, once that's just a theory of mine. I mean, that's not a theory, but I'm saying that's going to happen because every season is going to be, what's it, every 25 years, because that's its cycle. If you didn't know, that's kind of like Jeepers Creepers. That's where they got that from. Jeepers Creepers got it from them. He comes back every 25 years to feed or whatever. So every 25 years, it's going to be a different season. So they're going to go back. Second season going to be go back 25 years from now. So what, 40 something, 40 something, 35, something like that. So that there going to start to mark big historical things that it did and tie in the book and all of that. So, with that being said, Dick, Dick Halloran, he is also working, not working, but he's in the military. So, the military in this opening scene, you'll see they, have captured a Native American fellow named Taniel. He's the nephew of Rose, who owns the antique shop in the store, who was also a childhood friend of the general and helped him get away from Pennywise way back in the day. So they're using Mr. Halloran to go inside of Taniel's mind and his memories to try to find out where it is located. And so as he does that, you get this fire scene of him using the shining to go into his memories. And he's once he's in there, it's just doorways. Spins around till he finds the doorway he needs. Goes in, it takes him to a memory where Taniel is sitting there playing with some toys, and his auntie comes in, Aunt Rose. She basically asks him, "Hey, do you remember the story of the monster?" So Daniel then goes into the origin of Pennywise. So, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Y'all a minute if you didn't know. All right. So this the origin is roughly still tied to the book. Still kind of closer to it. It's a little different so far. So if you didn't know, Pennywise is not just a clown. You know what I'm saying? He ain't just a regular, let's say supernatural religious demon. Now, you can say he's, evil, but you know, yeah, whatever. That's wordplay. But he is a an being, interdimensional being, and he's evil. Yeah, he's evil. So you want to say he's a demon, all right, cool. But he's interdimensional. He's way beyond that. Like shit to where your mind can't fathom shit he could do. So in this show, they say that he was cast down from where he's from, and he was in this prison. This meteorite prison, basically, that was something that was used to, not only hurt him but cage him. So he crashed to Earth and was just there for a few hundred years until first Native American people showed up, and so they basically was terrorized by him, for a little while until they figured out that the material that the meteorite was made of that he was crashed down in, they could use it as a weapon. He got a piece of that, used it as a dagger, and end up basically weakening him enough to where he will only stay in the Western world. So with that being said, they was cool. They lived on for, a good long time in balance. As long as they ain't going there and fuck with him, he couldn't come out and fuck with them. Plus they had a heat weight on his ass if he did. So, of course, good old, goddamn the whites, the colonizers, they end up coming over, to the land, talking to Native Americans. Native Americans like, look, bro, don't take y'all ass over there. It's evil over there. Don't go over there. We don't fuck off over there. Y'all need to fuck off over there. Of course, they ain't listen. And they take their ass on over to the Western Woods. So they go over there, they hunt on the land, all that shit they do, try to take over shit that ain't theirs. And Pennywise fuck them up, which is another one of the first um, historical horrible things that happened in the history of Derry. Even before it was actual settlement, it was a whole bunch of colonizers that disappeared, or settlers, let's say settlers, that disappeared. And so that's why, because Pennywise attacked them. And as you can see, Pennywise was always in different forms. It's just he goes in the form of, whatever the fear of whatever he's trying to kill at the time. So at that time, he was like a big moose. So he was, he was animals and just be big, monstrous types of animals. But he over time he evolved to try to go all into a clown to appeal to whatever he was hunting better. So, long story short, they go in there. Once he kills the settlers, he gets stronger. He able to come out the woods more. So the Native American people have to try to go in and get more of the material from the meteorite to make more weapons to kill him. Um, I won't tell you all the detail of what happened with who died or whatever, whatever. But they do get the material, and they actually bury 13, let's say, shards. Large amount of shards. In 13 different spots surrounding the Western Woods, which sealed and kept Pennywise in those woods. And so those are basically the 13 beacon that the military is looking for. There's 13 beacons that's pointing to one direction, which center, where it is player, which Dick Halloran, ends up coming to find out at the last scene after he gets the whole origin story. He asks him, "Ooh, a little creepy little way, how can we find Beacon?" Tanya gets up and opens the door, shows him the Well House, which is the big spooky haunted house looking movies, first two movies. And so he says you go there, that the tunnels, follow the tunnels underneath the well house, and you'll find they'll lead you to the shards. So, we saw previews of um sewers and I forgot the other guy in the sewers too. We saw visions of both of them in the sewers, both of the black characters. So, they're definitely headed down there. That's where, that's where shit gonna get realer. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. But if you didn't know about the well house was basically the house where, there was a well there at one point in time. And for the town's water, they put a house there to basically, house and cover up the well. And that's where all the irrigation, all the pipes lead from there to the city and the sewage, everything. And that's where Pennywise, dwells. That's how he uses the sewers and everything to get all around the dang on town because all of the tunnels and stuff lead their house. The house was also tied to actual, I forgot his actual name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the clown, the ugly guy you see in the antique pictures, him, the actual Pennywise, I guess. Yeah, the actual Pennywise, which is a clown form that it took over time. If you saw in the last episode, you saw that actual trailer, which in that little girl character there, it could be his daughter. But they'll go back to that and go more into detail of that too. I believe that was his daughter though. So we got an origin story. We got some fire, cool scenes. Definitely giving this episode a good 8 out of 10. We also got some good, actual sightings, Pennywise sightings in different forms. There's a scary form of him in the Native American battle scene that they're gonna have. Gonna love that. He was creepy as hell in that. Um Y'all, once again, if you ain't watching this, I don't know what you're doing. You tripping. Need to watch this show before you get too crazy. We still got two more seasons though. I'm just glad, they take the time and flesh it out right. They do an amazing job. So man, I don't want to hold y'all no longer. Keep this short as we can, short and sweet. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like, that subscribe, that follow button, comment, share, do everything. Gonna put the trailer at the beginning of this and everything, and y'all let me know what's up. How y'all like everything, bro. We out. I'll stay cool, man. Hey.